Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Chris with potstocks.com and it's January 24th. Overall, the sector was mixed this week. Several stocks had double-digit gains on Monday and Tuesday, followed by some significant losses midweek. In stock news this week, Force Fuels Incorporated, ticker FOFU, shot up on news of a strategic partnership with MCIG, tested 11 cents before closing at 6 cents. We haven't covered these guys before. They're developing Cafe Serendipity, a sort of cannabis cafe franchise model. We'll add this one to our watch list. WNTR received $2.4 million investment, which will be used for operations as well as a share buyback and an uplist to a major exchange. They haven't specified which one. They'll also remain tradable on the OTC. I'm curious how that's going to look. Sometimes those can mean that there'll be some changes to share structure, but until further details are out, it's kind of tough to speculate. They also executed a name change, now Worldwide Diversified Holdings Incorporated. MCIG announced their products will be featured at the SoCal High Times Medical Cannabis Cup on February 7th and 8th. Rick Ross will be performing and likely promoting his Boss Vaporizer in partnership with MCIG. Should be a good opportunity for MCIG to get some exposure and sell some products. This event marks the first in a series of cannabis industry events that MCIG is sponsoring. Also note that MCIG won our weekly poll asking which company is the best long-term investment, with over 41 votes over the other companies. TURV, Two Rivers Water and Farming Company, completed $4.4 million in equity financing. Proceeds from the financing will be used to acquire land and fund the construction of a fully equipped greenhouse in Colorado that has been leased to a Colorado licensed marijuana grower. Stevia Corp. STEV filed a provisional patent in relation to a CBD and ibuprofen formula for pain treatment. International Consolidated Companies Incorporated, that's INCC, announced it will be leasing 5 acres of property in Colorado from Future World Corp. FWDG. The plan is for a 10,000 square foot greenhouse, and a Tier 1 grow license will be submitted in the near future. There are now just a mess of law firms going after MedBox. Look at this. So this is the recent news in Yahoo for MDBX. 12 alerts from law firms. It's incredibly bad news for MDBX investors. However, if you're an investor that purchased MedBox around November, you may be eligible to participate in the class action suit. So go check with individual firms for eligibility. You can find the link below the webcast. MJNA announced this week acquisition of Canaway LLC. No disclosure of purchase price, but it has a valuation somewhere between $119 million and $240 million. In related news, we'll be publishing our MJNA business analysis report later this week. In cannabis news, legalization advocates Responsible Ohio submitted a proposal to the Ohio Attorney General for the legalization of cannabis use for any Ohioan over 21. They'll need to collect over 300,000 signatures before it can be put on the ballot to vote this November, but if it's passed, Ohio's new law will take effect in 2016. The Jamaican government has now backed a bill to legalize medical cannabis as well. Possession of less than 2 ounces of recreational cannabis will be punishable by only a fine. Personal home grow of up to 5 plants will also be allowed, and the new law would also allow the use of cannabis for religious purposes. On January 21st, Nebraska state senators introduced the Cannabis Compassion and Care Act, a bill that would pave the way for legal medical cannabis in the state. It's worth noting that Nebraska is simultaneously suing Colorado for legalizing pot. Great news for Washington state business this week. Judges ruled that the ban on marijuana advertisements is unconstitutional as a breach of the First Amendment. The judge left the door open for more nuanced approaches to regulating advertisements, but called the statute impermissibly overbroad as it chills even informational speech aimed solely at public education. Alright, let's move on to charts. Last week we anticipated good movement from LGBI, MCIG, ERBB, and AMMJ. We're 4 for 4 on those. If you bought Monday and sold midweek, you're definitely playing the game right. It's a pretty consistent theme that most gains are made early in the week, and the latter part of the week we'll see some losses. The chart patterns we discuss are really short-term predictions, but it's incredibly easy to make money once you learn to play these correctly. Next week there's 2 triple zeros that I think look strong. It's dangerous playing triple zeros and it's hard for them to break into double zeros, but WNTR looks good, and I think we'll have strong movement early next week. News of that investment should help it pick up steam as well. UTRM also looks like it'll continue trending upward, and these are both really affordable for traders, particularly new ones. Just do be careful, triple zeros are always risky. Lastly, UPOT looks like it's trending back upward from 40 cents. It's a candidate for likely continuation into next week. Again, congrats to everybody who's watched and taken advantage of our free alerts. It's definitely been a great season so far, and thanks to our followers for keeping us updated on your favorites. If you see a strong chart or some news that we don't catch, please let us know on Twitter or Facebook. I'd like to close tonight with some upcoming events. On January 27th, members of cannafunder.com can attend a webinar where two companies will pitch to investors. The first is Indoor Harvest Corp, with a goal of just over $250,000 to raise. The second is Common Bond Collaborative, a startup accelerator that aims to help early growth cannabis companies. If you're an entrepreneur, this is a great opportunity to tune in and hear some professional pitches. That's Cannafunder, CANNAFUNDR.com. Also on January 27th, the University of British Columbia will be hosting Mark Emery for a conversation about the future of pot from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. $7 for students, $15 for the general public. Finally, on January 29th, CannaWebcast.com will be hosting the Cannabis Investor Webcast from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You'll hear from several cannabis companies, and while it's definitely a long event, it's worth the time if you're serious about investing in the space. Shout out this week goes to Mass Roots, the social network for people that enjoy the cannabis lifestyle. Go check them out if you haven't already, and make sure to add us. Our username is PotStocks. Thanks for joining us this week. Stay in the green.